with what the former governor of Ogun State just said, it now makes me look at it from this angle. Is politics a thing of personal interest or the people's interest? Now, comparing it to Buhari's regime, that, okay, he did his own 8 years, so it's the turn for Tinubu. So now the question is it just about the political seats now? What about the people that you are being governed? What's the interest of those people? These are the things we keep talking about when we talk about the whole political thing. It's not like everybody's going there for their own personal gains and selfish interests.
Well, beyond the political players, I think the electorate will remain the only, if I dare say, and the major, if there are any other, the major problem of our democracy. A situation where our recruitment process is highly monetized and highly compromised, no thanks to the electorate who would say, look, you must give us our own before you go. We cannot vote for you except to collect the 10,000 naira. In fact, the last election, it was so ridiculous that many people took as high as 20,000 naira. And many people also took so ridiculous amount as 2,000 naira.
I think until we try to curb electoral malpractice in the system, you see, this voting, it's still going to be something that a lot of people
Who will curb it?
Exactly. Who will curb it?
Is it the INEC that you have burdened with so much more than it should carry? It's responsible for voter education. It's responsible for party registration. It's responsible for dealing with exam and all of these things.
The overall conduct.
Except and until, like many people have also advocated, except and until we have a different body, different entirely from INEC, that would deal with the issue of electoral malpractice and malfeasance, there would always be this problem of who bails the cat in dealing with electoral malpractice. Because the same person with that's what INEC will tell you. Ours is to look at the election. People are buying, they're buying votes there and all of that. You have EFCC there, you have police there. But then what do they also do on the day of the election? It also brings us to look at the issue of alleged compromise of some of these actors. And so, if we are really going to get it right, it must start from the root. And the root of the matter is the electorate complicit in this matter. If the electorate will say, look, looking at the antecedent of this person, we do not want him. And no matter how much he brings, they will not vote for him. It will be difficult to say you are rigging an election where there was even no vote for you at all. Or it's known that you're not popular there. But if there is already a compromise and complicit by the electorate, they've collected some money and so they vote, it will be easier to just do little addition and then the electoral malpractice festers. So there must be the decision, determination, and absolute readiness of the electorate to say, look, we are standing here. No matter whose ox is God, but who will bear the cat?
On the long run, I would say Amukwiton still have a lot of things to put in place. Him coming out to say his own time is going to do so much. I feel there's a lot to do, a lot of responsibility. Just like you talked about the electoral malpractice now, who is going to take charge of that? Because you're already saddled with so many responsibilities. So I guess there's just a lot to still be done when it comes to our electoral system and our politics in general.
A lot to do, of course. Let's leave politics and now go to issues that concern Nigerians and governance entirely. Discos reject FG's free meter plan. For this having to do with the electricity arena, power sector. Power distribution companies have expressed doubt over the directive by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, that prepaid meters must be free for all categories of customers. Operators who spoke with journalists said the minister made only a political statement without considering the input of other stakeholders, especially the installers and meter providers. On Thursday, the federal government banned electricity distribution companies and installers from collecting any form of payment for meters, warning that DISCO officials and installers found extorting customers will be prosecuted. Adelabu issued a warning during an on-site inspection of newly imported smart meters at APM terminals, Apapa, Lagos. Adelabu said the meters were procured under the World Bank-funded distribution sector recovery program and must be installed for consumers free of charge, stressing that any demand for money must be treated as an offense. Details in the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, moving on, still something relating to politics like we've been talking about. The APC to receive Mufwang on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, as Kanu governor, formally register today. The ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, will further tighten its grip on Nigerians' shifting political landscape today, with the Kano State Governor, Abba Yusuf, expected to formally defect to the party, while the Plateau State Governor, Caleb Mutfwang, will, barring unforeseen circumstances, be received by the national leadership of the party tomorrow. Characterized by insiders as carefully sequenced consolidation drive by the APC, the development of coming amid fresh disclosure on how the APC capitalized on internal tension within Rabiu Kwankwaso, New Nigeria People's Party NNPC, to draw the Kano governor into its fold. In the same vein, a top party chief yesterday moved to allay fears of an impending impeachment of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, telling newsmen that the process will not move forward because the party had intervened behind the scene. In Kano, the governor's defection, it was learned with the culmination of prolonged discontent with the NNPC, where sources said he had become politically constrained by the overwhelming influence of his party's national leader and political godfather. More details of this story can be found on this day newspaper.
All right, at my end here, politics is rested. So let's check some more stories. NDLA intercepts Brazilian lady with 3 billion naira heroin at Abuja Airport. You say that's massive, right? Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have intercepted a 30-year-old Brazilian woman, Ingrid Benavides, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, with 30.09 kilograms of heroin concealed in factory-sealed coffee packs valued at over 30 billion naira. The suspect, a private security officer in Brazil, was arrested on Friday, January 23rd, upon her arrival in Abuja aboard Qatar Airways following intelligence-led surveillance. In a statement, the agency's spokesperson, Femi Babafemi, said a search of her 2 checked-in bags revealed 21 factory-sealed packs of Brazilian coffee, which upon inspection were found to contain white substances that later tested positive for heroin. Babafemi said during preliminary interrogation, Benavides claimed she brought the illicit drugs into Nigeria under the guise of visiting the country for holidays. Details of the story you find in the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, from still the Punch, I'll take this one. The drunk driver injured in Lagos State road crash. A yet to be identified driver is suspected of driving under the influence of alcohol has been hospitalized following a collision with a truck in Lagos State. Newsmen learned from a statement by the spokesperson for the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Adebayo, that the incident happened in the early hours of the day. He stated that investigations revealed that the driver was speeding when he crashed into a moving truck. The impact of collision was said to have left him trapped in the wreckage of the vehicle and with injuries. He stated that preliminary security findings indicate that a male motorist believed to be heavily intoxicated was operating a Honda Jeep at a dangerously excessive and uncontrollable speed when he firstly crashed into the rear of a moving Scania truck while descending the bridge. You know, we still need to speak on the need of the ban of all these sachet drinks and alcoholic little bottles, because when you go to, you're smiling, because honestly, when you go to garage, now we get to hear about car crash more often than usual, because when you go to garage, you see them selling these things. It's like normal to them. And then you even see that before your driver, they'll tell you, I want to clear my eyes. That this is what's going to ginger them to drive properly. But this is doing more harm than good to them. Because most of the car crash we experience or we see, you get to hear that they were under the influence of something. You get, so at the end of the day, their eyes are actually not being cleared. Their eyes are actually being closed. You understand? And then they are driving with so much speed. Also, we need to try to, I think it's something we need to work on in Nigeria. It's not just about putting that there are speed limits on the road. They need to also regulate. Who is ensuring that the road users abide by this speed limit? You understand? Regulating it and ensuring that road users abide by it. We can still see how they still move on traffic lights. They don't even obey it. Not to talk about speed limit. Because when you are driving with the knowledge of, okay, I should maintain this speed, then you will know the right thing to do. But when you know that nobody is even watching, no enforcement, no implications, they just keep moving. Look at the Anthony Joshua's case right now. An eyewitness said it was over speeding, although it's still under investigation, but we can see cases like this. So what is the government actually also doing, aside the ban of those sachet alcoholic drink, but also the road users abiding by driving rules?
A very big issue, I must say. But let's look at it this way: you don't cut a tree on the head and then you assume you've killed the plant.
You need to take it from the roots.
You need to really root it out. Now, you're banning alcoholic drinks in sachet. How about the ones in plastic? How about the ones in bottles? So, enforcing the if you drink, you don't drive. If you drive, you don't drink mantra will go a long way in helping the situation. But what is more, there's also the need for more than just political will, but also administrative, commonsensical will to really see through certain policies of government. If this is government policy through NAFDAC or any other agency of government, then it must be really total, complete, and absolute. Just last week, I think, that there were protests at the Lagos office of NAFDAC against the ban
of the sachet drinks,
sachet alcoholic drinks, and I just smiled when I saw the development. I said, look, Nigeria is just a funny arena. Later you find these distillers going to court and then they say they obtain a court injunction, whether kangaroo or properly, and then there will be a way to say, okay, you cannot, they have economic right, they fundamental human right to association and all of that, and so that will be the end of the whole thing. But if there is a total, complete and absolute stance on this matter, like, look, for public interest and the effect of this and that on the general populace, we are stopping it. And that does it. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, after all, there was a time when everything about, what is it now? Everything about broadcasting was entirely a government thing. But 1992 or thereabout, up until now, you find a deliberate policy of government that said, look, there is the privatization and commercialization of the industry, and that is it. Today you find much more private stations than even you find the government stations. So there must be this deliberate action by government to say this is in public interest, and then we must see to it. Now, beyond that, overspeeding, I think it's just something that has to also do with passengers sometimes. If, for instance, I'm boarding a bus and the driver is saying, please excuse me, I want to go and clear my eye, I also clear the door and I'll get out. But then people are always in a hurry that they do not understand the implication of certain things on their lives and their family. Because if you get crashed and then you die, you're not the only, in fact, you're not feeling any pain anymore. It's the people you leave behind that would be feeling the pain. True. And so in the interest of collective joy, I think there's a need to put caution to everything. You find your driver saying he wants to clear the air. In fact, some of them won't even tell you he's going to clear the air.
They just walk away.
And then they come back, and you sitting in front, you could perceive, because it's just like smoke.
Yes, it is.
You cannot hide smoke. It is to come out. So will you perceive it? That's not the only bus at the motor park, for God's sake. All of you could earn mass. Leave the bus and then go into another bus, and then say, what is the problem? And then, this man cannot drive us, he's already drunk. And so there must be a way that all of us will say it's a collective responsibility, and so we will not allow ourselves to be killed. Because for me, it's a suicide mission when you say you find somebody that's already drunk that's also driving you. Those who are also saddled with the responsibility must do it. And that's why is it fella that say police us well, or who even signed the song now?
I think Black China.
Yes. Police us well. Governor us well. Yeah, now if you're FRSC us well.
Of course.
If you're police us well.
If you're a NAFDAC
us well.
Exactly.
It should not be a case of all these naughtiness, superfluous attitude of waiting there And then you also find this nonsense happening these days now, where drivers have also understood the corrupt language of some of these unscrupulous elements in uniform. They put their bribe inside the road manifest, and then they give the manifest to the, and the man is not manifesting anything on the manifest. It's only manifesting the money that's already inside the manifest. And so that is another nonsense that we must really fight against. If the rule says this is the rule, don't use your corrupt tendencies of the money put inside the manifest to look away from what you're not supposed to look away from.
You know, this thing that you just said reminds me of when I traveled last. You see, we also need to talk about the issue of overloading vehicles. You see some buses, the back is longer than usual because now they've packed so many loads, and now that's very dangerous because there are some roads that you want to take a curve, and because of the load that is already too much, you see that the vehicle, exactly. And now we have road safeties, but just like she said, because of all those things that they do, they just stop them and then they check the manifest, and you understand other things now manifest after checking the manifest. These are a lot of issues that we need, because if we want to talk about curbing road accident, it's not just about the drivers being intoxicated, it's also trying to obey the rules and regulations. Correct. What should road users actually do? Overloading your vehicles with so many things, you know, they're just a lot. Over speeding, not paying attention to traffic rules and regulation, and unnecessarily overtaking of cars.
I think that's another issue.
A lot.
You see, let's not go far. In Akure, the Ondo State capital, that there is this revolution of infrastructure to a large extent. You now find roundabouts being reconfigured, becoming junctions, as some people call it. But then that's, as someone described it, global best practice. You find traffic lights and all of that. But you see, these elements are not used to it. They are coming with terrible speed, thinking that it's still the usual roundabout that you just go and all of that. And the First Bank area in Alagbaka, at least I can still count up to 4 or 5 incidents like that.
I think
you find J5 vehicles just come and then ram me on a vehicle that is stationed waiting for the green light, and then the problem ensued. And so there must be a way to really regulate all of these things, because it's already part of them. That's how they speed at everywhere, every other road, and so they are not even taking cognizance of the peculiarity of the areas. Now, who even knows? Maybe every junction will now become like that in the state capital. Almost
like even the ShopRite roundabout has been destroyed. There's a traffic light, the NEPA roundabout, there's now a traffic light. But then I don't think that is on the government, it's on the road users.
That's what I'm saying. Now, they must abide by those rules. There's a change.
Yes, because it didn't happen overnight. You understand? They were, let's say, for a week. First, you have to destroy the roundabout, you have to floor, you have to grade. So they saw these things, but now that is why sometimes when new rules, when new things come like this, you still need to employ the use of road wardens to ensure that, okay, these people are going to checkmate this thing prior to when the indigenes get used to it. Because I can still see some roads where you don't see wardens there. So now those road users, they don't even know where to stop. Some of them will drive past the light, and then the light is behind them. Now how would they know when it turns green, when it turns red? So there's still need for officers to be at those points prior to when they get used to it.
To enforce and not to harass. To enforce and not to extort.
That's another thing. You know, that's a major issue, extortion.
Because for me, law enforcement is not an avenue for citizen extortion. And so there must be a way to also balance that. Let's move on. This one is an unfortunate story. Well, we're already almost rounding up this segment. Suspected kidnappers kill police inspector during rescue operation in Oyo. The Osrc State Police Command on Sunday confirmed the killing of a police inspector while a team of police officers were trying to rescue a kidnapped victim, Haruna Lawal, at Oloruda village in the Oyo West local government area of the state. A statement by the State Police Public Relations Officer, Olayinka Ayolade, said the assailants abducted Lawal and escaped with his motorcycle to an unknown location. Ayolade added that the kidnapped victim, Lawal, also sustained a head injury during the attack. He explained that the victim was quickly rushed to the General Hospital in Oyotan, where he is currently receiving appropriate medical attention. The PPRO said the Command received a distress call from Alimot of from the area, reporting that suspected kidnappers armed with dangerous weapons invaded our brother's residence. Details of the story in the Punch newspaper of this morning. Check it there.
We still have to talk about this whole kidnapping thing. We keep hearing of people were rescued. How were they rescued? Was ransom being paid? What happened to the culprits? What happened to the abductors? Do you understand? So until we really address these issues, we'll keep on hearing of stuff like this. I got a news that coppers just went to camp. Now, a few days ago, a copper going from Kwara State to Taraba, posted to Taraba State. She was kidnapped on the way, and our families are out there soliciting for money for I don't even know if I should call it bail or release at this point, the ransom. You understand? So until we actually start doing something and stop looking for ransom to pay, this issue is going to keep coming. Do you understand? So it's just something that needs to be addressed. And a lot of parents have even called for NYSC they said shuffle South people in the South, shuffle the North people in the North, and then the West in the West. But do you think that's the way to go?
That's not the way to go. That will be undermining the essence of establishing the scheme. What is important is to move for a total overhaul of the security architecture, where the federal government says it's doing a lot. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on whichever angle we look at it, the United States government seems to be pressurizing the federal government to do more in securing Nigeria, and I do see that a lot of improvement seems to be happening, but there is still a whole lot to be done. The largest room in the world, they say, is a room for improvement, and so government must not rest on its oars. There must be a way to really improve on all of this. What is more, ensuring that people face consequences
for
their actions and inactions will forever remain the only way to curb this problem. When people are not allowed to do this funny thing they call plea bargaining, when people are not allowed to do this funny thing they call amnesty for kidnappers, amnesty for bandits, amnesty for criminals, then there will be a way to go in really finding solution to this matter.
Okay, let's take this from the Nation newspaper. Moving away from all of this, let's take it to the entertainment industry. Tonto DK reconciles with ex-husband Olakunle Churchill after a decade of long fight. Actress Tonto DK has expressed gratitude for the restoration of her relationship with the father of her child. DK on Instagram said after 10 years of public battles, broken communication and pain, God stepped in and healed their relationship. The mother of one praised faithfulness, saying he is not a God who abandons what he started, and we see it through the completion. DK, who is now a converted Christian, acknowledged the role of humility, prayer and obedience in their restoration, and encouraged others facing similar challenges to keep trusting God. She wrote, "We are living proof that the word of God is eternal and unfailing. God is not a God who abandons what he has started. When he begins the work, he stays with it until it is completed."
Let somebody shout hallelujah.
So let somebody shout hallelujah, because it's been so long, and I'm really happy that they decided to reconcile, because of course at the end of the day it affects the child more, not even these the couples.
Let's hope they've learned their lesson to also keep their private life private and not
that's
make it a social media thing.
That's another thing.
It's very important.
Just because you're in the public space doesn't mean everybody needs to know what happens in your life.
Well, it's been a long walk looking at stories making headlines in national dailies this morning. We've solved that between the Punch newspaper, the Nation newspaper, and the Guardian. Of course, there are many other newspapers that you will do well to check. Stories that really trending today and always. Of course, we go on our first break on the Outlook this morning. When we return, we look at issues having to do with taxation and also the issues having to do with power generation and distribution. Please stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.
care of your physical body is good for your mental health and crucial for overall well-being and a high quality of life. It empowers you to live a longer, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Focus on a balanced diet, regular physical activities, sufficient sleep, go for regular checks, protect yourself from preventable diseases, avoid smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, and risky behaviors. Eat healthy, avoid illegal drugs or using prescription drugs in ways other than prescribed. Keep your environment clean, stay hydrated, and connect with other people, as good relationships are important for your mental well-being. Please go to the hospital or consult your doctor if you are not sure of what your body is telling you. Remember that good health is more valuable than material possessions. It is the most precious asset, as it enables you enjoy life, pursue goals, and experience happiness, which wealth alone cannot guarantee. Health is wealth. This message is brought to you by OSRC Television.
Welcome back, everyone. It's now time to look into issues of effects and consequences of new tax laws in Nigeria on Ondo State. Who will be joining us in the conversation is Executive Chairman of the Ondo State Internal Revenue Service, Mr. Bayo Rojubokon, FCA. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. Welcome to AM today.
Good morning, my brother. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure being here this morning. Thank you, my sister. It's a pleasure having you too.
Mr. Rojubokon, let's start this way.
Okay.
The new tax law seems to be controversial in some quarters. Some are saying the federal government has come to take much more from them. But then the subnational government also has its own template of revenue generation all along. What is the implication of the new tax laws on the revenue generation drive of the subnationals?
Well, what I would just say is that the new tax law has just come to enhance the revenue generation capacity of each of the subnationals. Okay. There's no contradiction. There's no duplication. There's nothing. There's no issue with the subnationals. It has come to empower the subnationals to generate adequately. It has stipulated the kind of taxation that the subnationals can generate, including Ondo State. It has come to reduce the number of tax that Nigerians and Ondo State citizens are liable to maximum of 9. So you can see that it's a Eldorado for us in Nigeria and Ondo State. And our experience is good. Sincerely, since January 1, I've been talking to many places about this, and I think Nigerians are in good shape at this time.
Well, let's go on a lighter note a bit. So Nigerians will tell you, okay, if you are sending money, please put the narration. He begged me for money. Please don't deduct tax and all of that. Is this not a myth, misinformation, so to say? What exactly is the issue? Who is affected? How much is affected by this tax law?
Yeah, you see, we should just be ready to be compliant in Nigeria. Compliance is that how could you want to send money to somebody before without narrating the purpose of the money? I mean, it's odd. You're supposed to tell me that, oh, I'm sending this money for this purpose to you. And so what we're saying is that Nigerians, we are not used to be totally compliant, as in we want things easy and simple. We don't want to let people know some of our income sources. And that's what the tax law is interested in. The tax law is interested in your source of income and your income, total income. And once you have your total income captured, it is the templates to deduct your tax is simple. It says that if you don't earn up to 800,000 as individual, you don't pay tax. That's fantastic for us. And if you earn above that annually, and if you earn above that, you pay a tax that based on some rates. So we are interested in knowing that income.
Just a moment, if you don't earn up to 800,000 naira per year,
as a matter of fact, it's 1.2 million naira. Taxable income is 800,000.
Okay, so you don't pay tax.
You don't pay tax.
But then that does not affect the pay as you earn.
That it mean, what it means, it saves you money. You are not going to pay money if you are not earning up to that amount.
No.
It's a lot of relief for Nigeria and you and I that are earning any lower money, lower income of lower income.
You and I.
You and I.
You and I.
You and I.
Seriously.
You and I.
All right. What level of sensitization and stakeholder engagement was carried out on the new tax law from the federal level down to the state level? Because now we cannot say, oh, Nigerians should have done this instead of doing this. But what level of sensitization was done for them to know what to do and what not to do?
You see, we know ourselves in Nigeria. It's what we are interested in to know that we get to know. This tax law started July 1, 2025. Don't forget that the president of Nigeria signed the law to act to law on 26th of June 2025. And so since then, there have been discussions and there have been talkings, there have been sensitizations from the Federal Revenue Service, now Nigerian Revenue Services. And the Joint Revenue Board, formerly Joint Tax Board, has also been doing its own level of tax sensitization. And of course, those of us in the subnationals, we've been doing one sort of engagement or the other with the nationals, with the citizens, to let them know that come January 1, 2026, the new law will come to effect. And then this is how it's going to affect individuals, businesses, and the national, even the government. That this is how it's going to affect. This is how the level of income revenue we're going to generate, and how this revenue is going to be deployed for the supply of infrastructure to the state.
Another question is, this income, is it going to be taxed monthly or is it yearly?
Taxation is a monthly exercise.
Okay.
So you pay your personal income tax is a monthly exercise. So you pay on a monthly basis. But everything at the end of the year, you do a return of the income you made during the year and the amount you pay as tax. Then we'll now sit down and look at, okay, is it adequate compared to the tax you have paid? Is it adequate compared to your income you earned during the year? That's all.
Okay.
It's not different from what we have been doing before, but we will now have a tax law that is modern, a tax law that is up to date, a tax law that is digitalized. As you are talking to me now, you can pay your tax. If you have any liability, you just use your phone, you pay. You don't need to be going up and down because you want to pay tax.
How easy is the process of obtaining tax ID? Because that's another thing that's really generating a lot of controversy and conversation.
It's as easy as A, B, and C.
Run us through the process.
Oh yeah, it just once you have a name. As a matter of fact, once you have a name before Nigerian what's it called? Name now. The one given by NIMSI.
That's it. Identification number.
Identification number. Once you have it, you already have a tax ID. Okay. Because there's a tax ID that's already generated attached to that your name. All you need to do is to recover that tax ID. And if you give me your tax name now, as I'm talking to you now, I'll generate your name for you. Your tax ID for you. Simple. You don't need to pay anybody. You don't need to engage anybody. Once you have access to internet, it's as simple as A, B, and C.
I'm still concerned with the issue of multiplicity or duplicity of taxation vis-a-vis the new tax law and the existing laws of governing revenue generation at the subnationals, where we're concerned with Ondo State because we're here. Now, Ondo State Internal Revenue Service has its modus operandi of taxation. Yes. The local government has its own, and so on and so forth. So, what is the fate of an ordinary citizen, ordinary resident of Ondo State, in the face of the new tax law, vis-a-vis the existing revenue generation laws governing the state?
All right, thank you so much. The tax law, the new tax law, Nigerian Tax Act 2025, had come to eradicate all manners of multiple laws. Before now, we have more than 36 or thereabout laws, various laws, guiding taxation. However, now all of these are one single document now, Nigerian Tax Act 2025. So you don't need to go here and there looking for what and for references and for means of compliance. This one is single, and so it has simplified the purpose and the means of paying tax. It has simplified it, and that's what we are doing. And Ondo State people are in a good shape, because what is doing in Lagos, what is happening in Lagos is what is happening in Ondo State. It's what is happening in Borno State. It's what is happening in Zamfara and Cross River. It's the same thing. Not that when you come to Ondo State, we have 5 laws, and when you go to Zamfara, they are giving you the 6th. When you get to Borno State, they are giving you the 7th. No. We have the same number of laws in Nigeria, And thank God to Joint Revenue Board, we are putting our acts together. We are putting our acts together to ensure that Nigerians and the subnationals are having a nice time with this tax law. No harassment, no collection of tax on the road. No collection of tax on the road. You pay tax through the bank or through your internet. You don't pay tax on the road. I'm repeating it. No collection of tax on the road. If anybody do that, is probably doing something else, not a tax authority. So these are the things that Nigerians have come to realize. But because we are also very averse to changes, that's the problem we may be having. But I'm telling you guys, Nigeria is a good thing to be a Nigerian at this time.
How good is it for businesses, especially small scale and medium scale businesses? Because that's another area.
That's you and I. That's you and I again. The small business people. Once you don't have a revenue, a turnover of revenue of up to 50 million naira in a year, you pay no tax.
For businesses.
For businesses, small businesses, you and I businesses. Okay. Your kind of business, the kind of business I do is what do you call it? What do you call it?
Side
hustles you do.
Okay.
You don't need to worry. If your turnover per annum is not up to 50 million naira, you pay no tax. But if it's above 50 million naira, then you pay.
Being a registered business.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh yes. If your turnover is not up to 50 million naira in a year, you pay no tax. Because your kind of tax is not a monthly tax. For businesses, your kind of tax you pay is not a monthly tax, it's an annual tax. At the end of the year, when you have run your account, you not do a return, and then complete your tax yourself based on this analysis, then you pay. But we are saying the new tax law is telling you that if your revenue, your turnover in a year is not up to 50 million naira, you don't need to bother. Just make sure you declare your revenue. Because when you do your turnover, your return, the tax authority will have the right to investigate, to confirm your claim. If it is below, then they will give you additional assessment. But if it's above 50 million naira per annum, then you pay at 30% per annum.
All right. So the issue here is, there are, like you could also adduced to it, side hustles, small scale businesses, registration of business names, not even having a physical office for some, and all of that. So despite being a registered business entity, once you are registered, you can sue, you can be sued. But how well does the issue of taxation also affect them? They are registered, but in as much as their turnover annually is not up to 50 million, they are also exempted.
They're exempted from
okay, so that's the explanation.
That's it. It's a simple regulation.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, how is the ministry trying to ensure that there is adherence and implementation of this tax reform in Ondo State?
Oh, the ministry in Ondo State?
The agency.
Oh, my own agency.
Yes,
oh, yes, we are complying to what the law says we should do. Okay, one aspect of the law that may be a bit argumentative, a bit this thing is that, okay, Section 20 of NTA says that if you owe a liability you don't pay, and you have money somewhere, we have the rule of substitution, that we can apply the rule of substitution to take our money from that source and pay you tax for you. I will give you your receipt that you will pay your tax. So that one is generating another form of discussion, because people
against the will of the payer.
I keep saying
against the will of the supposed payer.
I keep saying that what we need is self-adherence, total adherence to the rule of law. It's there in the law. I've mentioned in Section 20. Go there.
Of course, I was coming to it because it's also some people, some were arguing this, and then the person said that is obtaining by trick.
It's not by trick. We will give you sufficient information that you are owing. We'll give you assessment. You are owing this number, this amount of tax.
What if the
money, do your investigation.
The money you are seeing, what if it doesn't belong to the company or the person?
You know to belong to the person. Okay, first of all, we said we should register for tax ID. Once you have a tax ID that is traceable to that account that you are keeping somewhere, or that money you are keeping somewhere, once that tax ID point to that money.
Ownership does not concern you.
No, I said your ownership here is not your name, it's the tax ID. That's what you know you to be. Don't forget, your tax identification ID is what we, tax authority, knows you to be, not your name or not your business name. Once your tax ID points to that money, it belongs to you.
Okay, another question with what you just said now. This tax that we keep talking about, is it going to be deducted willingly, like not, I mean, will it be deducted with the consent or without the consent of this person?
With the consent of the person, because we will give you notifications, we will give you assessment, we will give you enough room to defend yourself. Once you refuse to, because we know that we have a culture of this lackadaisical, I mean, they can't do it, they dare not do it, go to court. And of course, this law has also given you a provision. You don't need to worry about going to court or spending money on lawyers. There's a tax ombudsman. That if you have any argument or any issue with any tax authority, including myself as ODRS, you can go to the ombudsman. Every state has an office for an ombudsman, and report me there and say, look, ODRS has done this to me. He has deducted my money in a manner I don't like. So then the ombudsman will come in and interfere. Intervene in the discussion, and we'll get the truth without costing you a kobo. You can see that the federal. Thank God for President Bola Tinubu at a time like this for Nigeria.
Okay, so will people without a tax ID also be taxed?
You cannot operate in Nigeria without a tax ID now. Okay. You cannot be a citizen of Nigeria without a tax ID. And like I said, once you have a NIN before, once you have identified yourself as a Nigerian by obtaining the NIN, yes, you have a tax ID already.
Okay.
It's waiting for you to collect. You may not have collected it, but it's waiting for you there to just.
So pending that collection, will your account be taxed?
Yeah. It's not your account, your revenue. Don't miss it.
Okay.
It's not your account. It's not we are not taxing you because you are a business person. You are not taxing because you have money. We are taxing you because you are a liable person to tax.
Okay.
You have made income in Nigeria. You have assessed your income. We give you the assessment and we make you request to you to make the payment of the liability we have agreed with.
Well, Mr. Ojuwakon, let's also look at something. There is this conversation ongoing about whether or not it's the new tax law that brought about all these funny deductions via banks. Now the issue of stamp duty is there.
VAT,
in fact, VAT is there, and so on and so forth. In fact, so for some people, by 10 p.m. every night, you find a funny deduction of 50 naira, some 100 naira. Is this also an offshoot of the new tax law, or some people are latching on the avenue of the new tax law to perpetrate their own funny taxation?
Thank you so much. I thank God at a time like this that I was a banker. So I can tell you, as a banker, no banker has the right to touch your bank account without outside the rules set by CBN. Central Bank of Nigeria has laid down the rule of how your account can be debited. So if any of your account is debited outside of these rules, you can take the bank to court. Or you can just challenge the bank and say, bring back my money. So those charges that are coming, check, they have narrations. If it is, stamp duty. Stamp duty tax is not a new thing. It has been on as far back, So, and they're not doing it differently from what they are doing before, So, the charges, the funny charges, yes, if you are ignorant of your right, people can do anything with you. But if you know your right, please, if anybody charge you anything on your bank, please report to the bank, your bank manager, and they will do justice to you. I can trust you. And if they fail to do justice, write to CBN, you get your money back. So the new tax law has not directed the bank to just debit the account of any customer. However, if you have an unsettled tax liability, that's another discussion. Unsettled tax liability is different from unscrupulous debit.
Elucidate unsettled tax liability.
Unsettled tax liability is a liability we have settled between us. We have agreed that you will pay, but you are still dragging from paying. And we are giving sufficient information, sufficient notice, sufficient assessment to pay. But you have taken us to, then we can write to your bank on that note with those assessments to debit you.
What's the biggest benefit of the new tax law to Nigerians?
The biggest benefit to Nigerians is that the government will have sufficient fund to provide infrastructures to Nigerians. Another thing is that there is the benefit of flexibility. There's benefit of digitalization. So Nigerian tax law is now modern. As it is in the United States of America, as it is in the United Kingdom, as it is in France, it is in Nigeria now. The only thing is, the government may not have provided sufficient infrastructure before, but we're going to see a good run. You know now, our governor, Dr. Loke Aiyedatiwa, has started doing so many things in Ondo State because he's having sufficient money now to do it. So we will see more of such emerging facilities, emerging infrastructures like we have abroad in Nigeria very soon.
But there are also concerns about the level of mobilization and sensitization of the citizens, especially some have even said the law was hurriedly put into implementation without sufficient information, sensitization and mobilization of the citizenry. In Ondo State, isn't that the case?
It's not the case in Ondo State. It's not the case in any part of Nigeria. Because like I said earlier, this law was signed 6 months ago. And there are discussions, sensitizations everywhere, in newspaper, on the internet, on radio and television. I think I've come here about twice to discuss this matter. Yes, last week, Friday, I was on Adaba to discuss
These conversations are going on
every day.
When the implementation is already ongoing. I'm talking about pre-implementation, mobilization and sensitization of the citizenry.
It's a continuous exercise. I said I've been doing that before now, and it's continuing. So we are saying that if you don't understand yet, the basic rule is that go and register first of all. Obtain your tax ID first of all. For last year, do your return now, January up to January 31st. Do your annual return. Tell us how much income you made and how much tax you paid.
Why do we need to do that?
That has been the rule. That has been the rule.
That has retroactive effect. If it's the implementation of the law is the first day of January 2026, why should I do a returns of last year under the law that is taking effect in January 1, 2026?
Okay, my brother. The law started January 1, 2026. But you have been doing return before. We are just emphasizing, get used to doing your return. Tell us how much you make from your side hustles, from your salary. Tell us how much you made and how much the tax you paid. I
understand you. I'm saying, will the provisions of the new act also be applied to my returns of last year?
Not your income of last year.
Return
of last year is done this year now.
And so the new tax
has started. Yes, that's the aspect of the tax law that affects you for your activities of last year. Get it right. That the tax law says that make a return, take your tax ID, make a return, and that is only part that will affect you. It's not your income. We're not going to tax you of last year based on this year. No.
All right, Mr. Walker, we've discussed a lot about this tax law. Let's come to Ondo State. It will not be fair if I allow you go without talking about your own service, the Internal Revenue Service in Ondo State. Tongues are wagging about what has been the perceived performance of the Internal Revenue Service under your watch compared to what your predecessor, so to say, since it became a service. It was a board all along. Yeah. So there are concerns about your performance since you took over. The land use charge, the other initiatives that were brought on board. What different thing have you been able to bring on board since you took over the leadership of the service?
Okay. Well, first of all, if you are comparing with my predecessor, I don't have a problem with that but don't forget that my predecessor spent 7 years and I just spent only a year. So if you compare 7 to 1, that's a difference of 6 years. So we cannot be at par. If it comes to our performance, my performance last year supersedes what it was in prior years. The best so far in Ondo State. Yeah. Then it comes to what I want bringing in. I'm not bringing a new thing outside of the law. Outside of the law. It is the law. It's what the law says I should do that I am doing. And I thank God that I have teams, members of my teams that are very cooperative with me, and we are doing so well.
If you permit to match your tongue, your performance last year supersedes every other yearly performance in Ondo State. In that case, what was the internal revenue generated in Ondo State for last year?
Permit me not to disclose figures.
Of course, that's the challenge that many citizens have with the outlook in Ondo State. Yearly, and I feel that's why they're also comparing your administration with that of your predecessor. Okay. You hear that, 2.5 billion naira is the internal generated revenue for the year 2021. This also amount billion is generated for the year 2020 something. Why is it not the case anymore in Ondo State?
I'm telling you now that it's still the case. The only thing is that I'm an accountant. I don't throw my figure anyhow. There are processes. First of all, we'll send my figure to the governor for approval before I can announce it. Okay. I will also send it to Joint Revenue Board before I can announce it. So I'm not the kind of frivolous person that will just banter figures everywhere. However, I know that in 2024, Ondo State generated about 46 billion naira. I'm telling you again, I'm confirming to you that in 2025, we have generated more than 46 billion naira. Okay. But the first time the figure is approved and I release it, you will get to know.
Okay, so it's not that you are concealing anything.
I won't conceal anything.
It's that you are waiting for approval.
Yes. Yeah, you just finish. We are about to finish January. Let's finish December now. So we'll accumulate the figures, we'll get the approvals, and then we'll release it. Like I said, I'm an accountant. I know what figures means. So I would not just banter figures to the face of my people.
What's the update on land use charge in Ondo State?
Land use charge has not changed. It's the same. In fact, it's what we collected last year that we are collecting this year. However, some people will have a property that was 100 billion naira. I will tell you that is a ramshackle property. It will tell you. But when we confirm that, the value of your property is more than what you claim it was, then we'll charge you based on the value of your property. Don't forget that taxation is not a group thing. It's an individual thing. So some people will come as a group and say, look, this group, this estate, this is how much you want to pay. That's no more going to be the case. Okay. Because we will not take each property by property and value it and charge you based on the value and the rate that have been agreed per value of such a property.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, let me bring us back to the tax reform. Just before we go, is there a registration process that the indigents of the state, Ondo State, should comply with in order before they can start paying their tax?
Well, the process is not too far from what we are used to. Okay. But we have made this, we have simplified it. We have 24 locations in Ondo State. Each of our tax stations in each of the local governments in Ondo State has a tax station. So you can go there and register for your tax ID. Okay. Then, if you have your internet on your phone or your laptop, you can also access our website and do your registration there. So the first thing is to do is to locate. First of all, start for tax ID. Okay. Have your tax ID. Then you want to pay, go to the bank and you make payment. Or you want to pay by transfer through your phone, you go to your phone, access our website, and you see the platform to pay there. And you make your payment, get your receipt instantly. You are not paying in Bokoda and come to Akure to get your receipt. No, it's a waste of your time. Even your tax, if I tax clearance now, you don't need to come to Akure to get your tax clearance. Get your our tax station anywhere, apply for it, and then you get your tax clearance.
So let's talk about tax impact and value for money in the taxation firmament in Ondo State. A time there was, and I do not know if that still operates, so you will tell us, when an area that does so well in the taxation returns, so to say, gets motivated, compensated somehow. Perhaps it will be their road that gets quickly tarred for them, or maybe they have a problem with the water or anything. Then government moves in to say, look, you've paid your tax, you should have value for your money. What is the level of motivation for taxpayers in Ondo State? Beyond the normal, yes, we are doing general road and all of that.
All right. I will still come back to that because if I say that, it's not my responsibility to tell you, because I am to collect, I'm not to spend. So if I tell you that, okay, the governor is doing this, we all know what he is doing, we see what he's doing. He's not bringing money from his savings. He's spending the money that we gathered in Ondo State to do all that he's doing. You are saying about road. You know, the road between Akungba and Ikare alone consumes so much money. You are going to feel some portions of the road, you are going to feel a height that's high as a 2-story building. So can you imagine how much is going to be spent for such a location? That's one. Two, there are other places. Teachers have been paid. In this government, there's no question of owing staff salary. Medical practices have been provided. So what else do we want for government to do that is not doing? I'm not saying that government will not do more. Government will do more. But already governments have started the practice of saying, like I have money, I can spend for my citizens to enjoy their lifestyle and their stay in Ondo State.
I asked that question because you see there are also concerns about some high-profile areas. For instance, Alagbaka Extension people. That is also this place behind the Ibatoro axis. That's behind
that's my office.
Police headquarters.
That's my office area.
The office area is well tarred.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the police headquarters just behind it. There are concerns about their facilities there. And these are areas where you collect taxes. Land use charge, of course, you collect in those places and more. That's why I'm asking you if there will be something that taxpayers will say, okay, well, we pay all our taxes and then we see this on time.
The only thing I can tell you now is that the government has started doing something. This place you are describing to me, behind the SIB, immediately behind it, the road that leads, I don't know that much, but the road, there's a bad road, used to be a very bad road. Now if you get there, you'll be surprised at what the government has started doing. The road is being tarred. The road that leads to Imafon, you can see the massive work the government is doing there now. The road is being freed up, it's being tarred, and then so many other parts of Alagbaka. In fact, Alagbaka is becoming, I'm permitted to say, the London of Nigeria. Because
when will the other areas in not just Akure but entire Ondo also feel the pulse of government?
Oh yes, they
also pay tax.
They are paying tax, and even in Bokoda, my local government, we have a lot of roads that are being working. I mean, the work has commenced on all of them now, and I know if it can commence like that in the Bokoda, my local government, a lot of other places in Ondo State will have been well affected. So Ondo State people, don't worry. The government of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa is coming to your end. If it has not come to your end, it's coming to your end. But I know very sure he has his eyes all over. Don't forget that he has mandated each local government chairman to make a 2-kilometer or 1-kilometer road per local government. That is the beginning. And I know he now will have money to do more for us.
Mr. Aribok, I have to thank you so much for coming on AM today. It's been an interesting conversation, and I do hope that we'll sustain the conversation beyond now. Maybe much more later, we'll still have time to discuss taxation and revenue generation in Ondo State. Thank you so much for coming on AM today.
God bless you, and I appreciate you too. I'm ready to be here anytime.
All right, we'll take a break, everyone. When we return, we'll look at another issue having to do with the citizenry, especially how government reacts to their needs and aspirations. We'll be right back, everyone. Please stay with us.
Safety is not just the job of the police. It begins with you, right where you live. Whether it's day or night, always stay alert, always stay aware. Lock your doors properly before stepping out. Keep your phones and valuables closed and secure. Protect your home, protect your family, protect your zone. Get to know your neighbors. Together, we can look out for one another. If you notice anything strange, suspicious, or unusual, don't stay quiet. Speak up. Report it immediately. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't ignore the little signs. Remember, one simple call today can prevent a bigger danger tomorrow. So be smart, be safe, stay vigilant. Let's be security conscious, because together we can secure much more.
Chai, see wetin that drug dey do to our people o. See how drug take dey destroy our future. See wetin that drug dey turn our youth to. How drug go disgrace you. E go make your mind go crazy. Smoking and drinking go destroy your future. Your body go weak. Sickness go settle for your side. Your kidney, liver, heart, even your skin no go dey normal again. Shey na peer group dey push you inside am? Abi na because you wan belong? No follow crowd do bad thing o. No destroy your future. Stay safe, stay smart. No touch am, no buy buy am, no sell am. Protect your future, protect your dream, live good life. Say no to hard drug.
Care of your physical body is good for your mental health and crucial for overall well-being and a high quality of life. It empowers you to live a longer, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Focus on a balanced diet, regular physical activities, sufficient sleep, go for regular checks, protect yourself from preventable diseases, avoid smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, and risky behaviors. Eat healthy, avoid illegal drugs or using prescription drugs in ways other than prescribed. Keep your environment clean, stay hydrated, and connect with other people, as good relationships are important for your mental well-being. Please go to the hospital or consult your doctor if you are not sure of what your body is telling you. Remember that good health is more valuable than material possessions. It is the most precious asset, as it enables you enjoy life, pursue goals, and experience happiness, which wealth alone cannot guarantee. Health is wealth. This message is brought to you by OSRC Television.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, our next line of conversation centers on power supply efficiency in Ondo State. And joining us in the conversation is Dr. Johnson Alabi, an engineer, the Honorary Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on AM today.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you. Let's start on this note. It was just last week reported that National Grid collapsed, and then only Band A customers will have power supply. And so many tongues got wagging as to what exactly is the essence of the power distribution, supply, and all of that the state government took over. What exactly is the fate of Ondo State people in the face of this reality?
Thank you very much. Like it is usually said, that Rome was not built in a day. You know, the effect of what had collapsed all these years, now with the state trying to bring it up, it's not going to be a tea party. And it's not going to happen one day. We've started the journey. The most important thing is beginning the journey. And once we begin, we'll continue to move. We have begun and we are moving. And that was why we started with the issue of metering. That aside, the issue of system collapse in Nigeria is almost becoming the talk of the day, talk of the town. Why? Because there are a lot of things that are usually responsible for system collapse. Like this one that happened about 3 days ago, is it has to do with some disturbances on the network. You know, a lot of times we have issue of frequency, we have issue of different anomalies on the line that could trigger the circuit. Okay. And that is when we say the grid that collapsed. Of course, in Nigeria, you know, we have different grids. We have the grid that is running between Benin through Ondo State to Ogun State, then to Lagos State. Then we have the grid that is running between Benin, that is going through Aloji, down to Abuja, down through to Kaduna and to Kano. Okay. We have another grid that is running through Benin to Port Harcourt to Owerri, and just like that. So any of these lines could get tripped at any time due to faults on the line.
Well, your point is well made. The issue is, why should band B, C, and D
yes, I'm coming to that.
Changed? Why band A people will have light? Many people are saying it's because that is where you get more money from, and so you prefer to serve band A at the expense of the other bands.
No, not actually so.
So what is it?
It is in two folds. One, when system collapse like this happens, you know, for over some time consistently, we have been having about 5,000 megawatts on our grid. Even though our generation has surpassed 5,000, but what we are conveniently able to load on the grid is about 5,000 megawatts. That 5,000 megawatts is given to the different disco at, you know, certain quotas. For instance, maybe the BEDC covers about 4 states, is getting about 9% of the total power transmitted on the grid. So, for instance, like the 5,000 megawatts, we get 9%. The 9% may be to be totally about 400 megawatts, or about 400 and something megawatts. That 400 megawatts, usually, the way it is being done, 50 megawatts comes to Ondo State. Between 50 and 55 comes to Ondo State. 350 goes to Edo and Delta. The 50 that comes here, 25 goes to Ekiti. 30 remains here. Now that power had dropped to about 2,400 megawatts, 9% of that is what they are getting now. So if they get 9% of 2,400, maybe about 22 megawatts, which are drawn from the usual 30 megawatts. Inside of these 30 megawatts, there is the voltage drop on the line. So maybe they will have about 18 megawatts. 18 will come, maybe about 8 will go to Ekiti, and 10 will remain here, instead of the 30 that is supposed to be here. So that 10 now is grossly inadequate for us to distribute everywhere at the same time. You know, band A is more or less like an agreement that we must be able to give you a minimum of 22 hours per day. Because that agreement is already there. If they fault that agreement, they will be sanctioned. And that is why when these little ones come, they tend to fulfill that agreement by giving band A first, so that they will run foul of that law.
Schools and government don't have agreements with band B and so on.
Yeah, the agreement with band B, maybe if you are on band B, maybe you have up to whenever there's power, they give you up to about 16 hours.
Okay, is this not deepening inequality in the access of electricity to the band C and B?
Yes, I want to tell you some things about it. This band A, band B, C, D thing has to do with issue of subsidy on power. You know, the federal government have been paying subsidy on power all this while. And at a time, you know, the federal government trying to take away subsidy from the power supply to the people, and they looked at it and said, if there are some people, we call them big men, they can afford to run 20 ACs in their houses, they have water heater, they have electric cooker, and they run them. If these people can afford to maintain all these things. But there are people that don't have money to maintain. The federal government now says, okay, we'll be paying subsidy for these people that don't have the capacity to pay for this light all the time. But for Band A, we will not pay subsidy again. And so the tariff of Band A has gone up to about 200, and in the whole it's about 225 naira.
Band A?
Band A.
Or 260?
No, 225.
For Band A?
That is inclusive of VAT.
Okay.
It is 209 naira 50 kobo. But when you add VAT to it, it's about 225. So that's Band A. No subsidy on it. The federal government has hands off subsidy on Band A. And that is why the commitment is there that if you say we should pay this amount, you must be able to give us this power for this number of hours. If you fail to, then sanctions will apply. But for Band B, and see, okay, for instance, now Band B is doing 68 naira. 68 naira inclusive of VAT.
Per unit?
Yes, per kilowatt hour. Band C is doing 64 inclusive of VAT. And Band D is doing 58. You see the inequalities in the prices is the way the whole thing has been configured to operate. So at the end of the day, the inequalities is equally in the tariff. The more you pay, the more access you have to power supply. You don't forget that the other time when power improved slightly in Ondo State here, a lot of people were shouting, please, oh, come and take us away from Band A, we don't want Band A again, because the cost is much. But actually, if people are on Band A, you can regulate your use. That is maximizing your energy consumption.
Oh, auditing.
Yes. You just manage your energy management, you apply it, and you enjoy it. You have your 24 hours power supply. Even upon all these things that we are talking about, when the power had dropped to Ondo State here, Band A people are still enjoying, because they have to fulfill all righteousness.
And yeah, let's look at something. I do understand that power supply is key, and I like to appreciate the concern of government in that regard. But this is not being all-encompassing, so to say. I'll give you an instance.
Okay.
The people of Akoko, interestingly, if my memory is serving me right, you're also an Akoko man.
Yes, of course.
They are complaining that there are misgivings, especially by their power distribution company, that's the disco in that BEDC.
Yeah.
That for months, for weeks, for months, they won't have a power supply. In fact, that their own line is taken away off the national grid and so on and so forth. Is your office aware of this? What would you do to it?
Well,
because they also get taxed, so to say, every month. They pay arbitrarily and all of that.
You know, Akoko generally has a peculiar issue.
Okay.
Aside from that, we have been encouraging people to embrace the issue of metering, which was the first step the governor of Ondo State took in addressing power issue in Ondo State. The governor had said that he is not comfortable with these people ripping off the citizens of Ondo State. And so immediately, as soon as we came in, he asked that we go ahead with the issue of subsidized meters. And we have been, going everywhere campaigning to people, please purchase this meter. And
but their case is actually not a metering case, so to say. They are one from the national grid.
No, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
You know that now some people are saying that we pay every month. There are some situations, if you have your meter, you don't pay every month, you pay whenever there's power. The fact that they are paying exorbitantly, these people bring bills, is because there is no meter. If they have meter, you only pay for what you consumed. So, and that's why we're encouraging the people. The fact that these people are able to still generate income where there is no power, that is why the non-availability of power will linger for too long in that place. If they know that in that environment, once there is no power, we won't earn money, they will do all that is within their power to restore power there. But when they know that even when there is no power, we can go there, harass them, and collect money from them. Yeah,
why should their line be taken off national grid?
Now, I want to tell you that there are a part of Akoko that is receiving, that are receiving their power from Kogi, from AEDC, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company.
Is Akoko part of that arrangement?
Yes, Akoko. They are feeding Akoko because there is no national grid to feed from Ondo State axis here. So they are feeding them all the way from Okene. Now those people have disadvantage, and we have seen a lot of disadvantages attached to it. Many times there are times we had the cable will get snapped. Poles will fall down by reason of wind or what have you. It takes a number of weeks, months before we are able to get them to restore those things. They do it whenever they are able to do it, not because how many megawatts are we getting through the axis? Maybe not up to 1 megawatt. So they don't see it to be anything. Now we have the Ondo State has drawn up its own electricity roadmap in Ondo State here. We are planning for a state grid, a state smart grid is being planned as I speak to you. So our policy now is that we are going to develop a state grid. Over some time, we will quit the national grid in Ondo State. We'll quit the national grid and allow power to go to some other places because we are set up our electricity market here. And running our electricity market means we must be able to take charge of our grid. If we are not in charge of our grid, then we have not taken over the electricity market. So we are going to take the state grid all the way from the south, through the central, through to the north.
Engineer Alabi, it goes to say that the people of Akoko
yes,
and its adjoining communities will continue to suffer this neglect up until when the smart grid is able to come up.
No, that's not what we're saying.
So what are you even aware of what is going on there?
Well, I'm not aware of this particular peculiarity.
Okay.
I'm not aware until they report to us. Because I saw
they don't report to you, would you investigate?
Yes, I'm going to do that now that you have said. So I saw on the Facebook somewhere yesterday, somebody claimed to have gotten a transformer from a serving senator, and they put their money together to install the transformer, and after the installation, BEDC is asking them to come and pay 20 million naira and blah blah, all the things. I saw it. I went there, I made my comment that you are not going to get results on this Facebook where you have posted it. I expect these people ordinarily to write to the Ministry of Energy to complain, or to the Ondo State Electricity Regulatory Bureau to complain. But rather they will go on the Facebook after, they will say, hey, we are complaining to the government. Government is not doing anything. The government is not on the Facebook.
You are on Facebook.
But some of us are.
You are aware of this already.
Yes.
Would you then wait? Just like unfortunately, the police will tell you there's no formal complaint about this matter. But you are already aware.
I am aware. Moving in, you know, we work by bureaucracy, and the bureaucracy is that I see a paper that this is what is happening in so and so place. For me to give a directive, it must be written. You know, the people we work with, these our Nigerians, they are very terrible people. Because by tomorrow somebody will come and ask you.
They are not terrible people.
Yes,
we only have the disgruntled elements. We
have disgruntled elements in the system.
We all are not terrible people.
Yes,
Nigerians are not terrible people.
I know what I'm talking about. Because it will get up to time, somebody will ask you, you have done this, who complained? who complain. So we must have a complainant.
As an Akoko son, can't you also put a call through, perhaps to the traditional ruler of the place, perhaps the local government chairman of the place, or anybody that this is what you should do to solve this problem?
I am an Akoko man, but I am not pretending over only Akoko.
Very well. But then
and I have a whole lot of
that also has to do with your ministry.
Yes, I have a whole lot of issues on my table, and we are addressing them. Okay, somebody had called me from Akungba, for instance, that we have issue with our transformer, and told me all the things. I said, please put up your pen and write to my office. And by the following day, I received the complaint. And about 2 days ago, he called me and said, Honorable, thank you, your people were here. And this is how we operate. We are not wizards and witches, where we can know things
in a nutshell. You're telling people of Iruakoko and other adjoining communities that are affected to write, on the matter.
On the matter. Let us be aware. Let us have a full information.
You are already aware, but you want to be aware formally.
Yes, I want to be aware formally. I want to also know the nitty-gritty of what is happening there. Okay. Somebody may say this, another person may say that. We may never be able to tell what exactly the issue is. Okay. But if I see it on paper, I know this is the issue. If I am writing or calling the BEDC, I will tell them specifically, these are the things happening in so and so place. And they will be. I had a meeting with the BEDC in my office on Friday with the authority of BEDC. And we had, for over about 3 hours, we discussed because of the issue of free meter, no free meter. We were able to trash out a whole lot of issues. When we see issues like this, we invite them and we discuss it. And because we are their regulators, it's unlike before when they say we will report to Abuja, we will report to NEC in Abuja. No, the report should be to us now. If they equally have issue anywhere, they should report to us. That is BEOL. In the case of Ondo State, we have BEOL, that is Bini Electricity Ondo Limited. We don't operate BEDC here any longer. Okay. BEDC is elsewhere.
All right. How is electricity then distributed? Is it that the people need to come and make formal complaint first that we are having power outage there before it is being addressed?
No, that's not what I'm saying. The issue of outages is a different ball game. The outages we are having have different reasons. Some people don't just, it's not just about outage. Some people have peculiar problem, either that their transformer is bad, or their cable has cut off somewhere, or they have one particular issue that is lingering on for more than necessary. So those people have a peculiar issue. But for outages, if you have outage, maybe it is not, they used to ration the power supply that is here. I want to tell you that what Ondo State needs at this moment is quite over 700 megawatts. If we see 700 megawatts in Ondo State now, we can power the entire Ondo State at once without having to rotate. We give to Ijapo now. After 2 hours, we off the light and give to Okearo. After about 3 hours, we give to Futa. We won't do that any longer. We can power everywhere in Ondo State at the same time. And that is what the Ondo State government is targeting. That we cannot continue to live at the mercy of this allocation, this power allocation that these people are getting. And this power allocation, we have tried everything within our power to ensure that they increase the allocation for them, maybe from 9% to 12 to 13 or whatever. But it's just not working out. But we feel that by the reason of the new decentralization arrangement, we can approach the GENCO and buy our power directly from them. And that is what we are doing in Ondo State. We have begun that, and we are going to continue to march through it, and we will get results.
Engineer Abi, why is it that there are complaints in certain quarters that the government meters seems to have a different tariffs compared to the BEDC, or you said it's the BEOL now, the other meters, so to say? If the other time you were talking about 222 naira, some are insisting it's actually 260 naira.
Oh, that is for the tariff.
Okay.
The tariff. The tariff is 225 naira. But the issue of metering, there are different kind of meterings that are happening. The government metering in Ondo State, where we have maintained for more than a year a single price, 120,000 for single phase, 210 for three phase, and that's what we have maintained. But lately, we received a petition last week from a human rights activist claiming that there is a discrepancy in the price of meters in town. That some are selling 70 or 75 thereabout, some are selling 120, some are selling different prices. And we try to investigate, and we discovered that the price, those people selling for 70 are not from the government. What the government have been doing for over a year is 110 for single phase, and that is the cheapest you can get in this country.
So
anywhere.
Their own 70,000.
Now we have to invite the BEDC to come and explain to us. And when they came, some quantity of meters came through the distribution companies. They call it, there are different meters. Like I said, there is MAP, meter access providers. There is MAP, meters provided through metering access fund. Then there
the World Bank funded metering project.
No, the World Bank funded metering is DISREP.
And that's to be given free of charge to
It is to be given free of charge. But when we invited them, they told us the meter they are doing presently, it is not inclusive of installation charges. So they are taking installation charges for this MAP that they are doing. MAP meter, they are taking installation. And when they take installation, they will also take the last energy consumption that you have used plus the installation fee. That is what amounts to 75. This is the explanation they gave, even though we frowned at it, that is not supposed to be, but they made us to know that it's not inclusive of installation charges. But the district, we had the meeting of forum of power commissioners about 2 days ago, where we discussed that, and we are taking it up with the federal government, that this meter funded by the World Bank should come straight to the state, especially states that have set up their own electricity market. We should be the ones to receive the meter,
so that the state can
so that we can monitor this meter.
So that the state can sell them?
No, it's not. The
state currently sells meters.
The state currently sells. I want to clarify some things here. The state sells meter, but if meters come now, these meters that the states are giving out, one of the things we discussed in the meeting we had with BOL 2 days ago was that all the people that have bought meter have to be refunded their money through energy dispensing. So we have discussed it because it's in the agreement, the MOU that we sign with them. Okay. We will refund everybody that are bought meter. So, and that means,
let me get that correctly, the Ondo State government will refund.
It is not the Ondo State government that is going to refund. What the Ondo State government has done is to push these people to make sure that there is meter. Because if you leave it to them, they will never do it. They don't want people to have meter.
So who does the refund?
So the refund will be done by the distribution company. Okay. That is what the law says, and that is what the agreement we had with them. I don't have a copy of the agreement here. I would have shown it to you. But we didn't announce this to the people at the beginning, so that people won't, the pressure won't be too much on us. Now we believe that people have gotten meter. We have gotten to the stage where we should discuss how the refund through energy supply. Okay. So, before they will come and tell you we are already giving them back small. We don't want that now. We are going to sit down and define it. This amount of money, 120, how much energy can it procure? If it is 2,000 kilowatt hour, then you will now tell us how much you want to be giving them monthly. So the people can see these things coming monthly to their meter. Okay. Not, we are not doing scam here.
Okay. Still talking about meter.
So
okay.
Sorry, before you go ahead. So we will achieve this. But the meter that are being funded by the World Bank, they are not doing it for free. The money will be paid back by the federal government to the World Bank. It's a loan. And if it is a loan, we expect all the states will be involved. They will take from the FAC. If the states are going to pay for this meter, the state should take receipt of the meters so that we can monitor. We can tell you if these people if the distribution company receive the meter and they go and stock them somewhere without using how do we monitor? How do we, how do we know?
How do we also know that this meter is World Bank funded, this other one is not World Bank funded?
How do we know?
The state government, how do we also know that the state is not selling the meters to people the same way it's selling the previous meters?
No, the scheme, why the state got involved was because these people were not ready to do.
Now you are saying that
we are not going to continue for too long. Once we receive this meter, we stop the scheme of selling meters, and we key into the free meter. And so it is not going to be the state that will be doing the installation. It is the distribution company. But we will be able to say today, this week, we have released 500 meters to you. Come and give us the report of the 500 where you installed them. Before we release another 500. Then the state will be able to monitor. I told you here the other time, what we have been able to do in our office is that we have installed a server. Now, all the meters that the state government are giving out, we have decided to put everything in the system so that we can monitor all the meters from our office. So, and we are going to do that to all these meters that are coming. All we need to do is to put SIM cards into them. I see that even IBDEC, where we went to get SIM card for all these meters, we saw that IBDEC came to procure large quantity of SIM cards because they want to start putting them in the meter. That is how you can enable the 4G or the 5G part of the meter.
Your point is well made.
Yeah.
Okay, in Ondo State now they have the old Tiwa meter.
Yes.
What specific problem is that meter supposed to solve for the state?
It's supposed to solve, one, to clean off estimated billings. That is sending a whole lot of people. There are people that are almost selling their houses because of bill that are being incurred, though through estimated billing. There is no way. It's just like when you go to the filling station and they just put fuel, no meter, and they just say what we have put now is 120,000 naira worth. How do you? There's no liter there. How do you quantify it? So they may just sell 20,000 naira worth and tell you it is 70,000. What will you do? So this Odatiwa meter have been able to solve that problem to a large extent. That is one. Two, when you have meter, people try to manage their energy. By managing the energy, then there is more energy for others to use when you manage your own energy. And that is what has accounted for improved electricity in Ondo State here before, until we began to have this drop in power generation. Once we have enough power generation, Ondo State, before, these companies make money, the distribution companies make money even when there is no power, because they know that at the end of the month, they will just go and share bill. If you don't pay, they will just put their ladder. You will be forced to pay. But there is a community now where the community came together and say, anybody that does not buy meter, please help us to drop their light. Everybody bought meter in that community. So when BDC is passing now, they will just be looking at them, this year people, all of them are bought meter. If they bring light, they will pay. If they don't bring light, they will not pay anything. So this is the way those people have rolled. And that's why we are campaigning to the people, employing the people to buy meter. This is the best way you can enjoy government.
Okay, so is there any difference between the old Tiwa meters and the one that BDC is distributing?
There is no difference in the meter. What the governor of Ondo State, Dr. Loke Orimisan Ayedatiwa, has done is just he has branded the scheme as Odatiwa. It's not that there is a particular meter that is branded as Odatiwa. It is the same meter. But you know what? The BEDC told us when we began this scheme, we are using Mojek meter. We are distributing MBH meter. We are distributing, there are a lot of meters we are distributing at that time. BEDC came to tell us that this MBH meter seems to be the best. Better, even when their own customers come, they send them to us to come and buy our meter. Because our meter has stood the test of time in Ondo State and all other places. And that meter is what we have decided to stand with, because we know that it's reliable and has a very high degree of integrity.
Okay.
All right, before we close shop, what's the commitment of the Ondo State government to ensuring that the people are not shortchanged through this power distribution thing, especially with the Odatiwa meter and all of this other thing that people say it's like giving the people succor and taking it back with the left hand?
Well, it is not so.
Okay.
It is not so. It's very far from it. Now, like I explained before, the best way to handle our situation here, one, we are going to embark on our own generation in the state, power generation, very, very, very soon. Some will begin to come on stream even before the end of this year. You'll be seeing them. But we feel that when people key to the grid system, the grid as at now is cheaper for people to be able to maintain. So Ondo State government is looking at a tariff where we bring band D, C, B up to a certain level, and we bring band A down to a certain level to meet at a point, so that we will eradicate what is called the band system in the state. Okay. That is what we are working to achieve, and we are already making some progress, and I know that we will get there. We are doing that, and we will get there. We will develop our state grid.
Well, it's been a long conversation looking at the issues of power generation and supply in Ondo State. Yeah. The commitment is that you will not shortchange the people of Ondo State.
Yes, we will not. We have no reason to do so. The reason why we are here is to assist our people, to ensure that our people have access to quality electricity. And you know that to drive any economy, you need power to do so. So even the governor, if the governor is talking today, when he's talking about building the economy of the state, he is simply talking about making power available for the people to use. So we are not going to shortchange our people. We will work to ensure that there is power stability in Ondo State.
Engineer Johnson Alabi, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on these very many issues. Of course, we will continue to look into the gray areas. That is why we are here. Once we have complaints from the people, we will definitely still bring you to explain to them what goes wrong. All right. Thank you so much for coming on here today.
Thank you very much.
Conversation with you. Everyone, has been a wonderful moment sharing thoughts on critical issues from the taxation arena to power generation. And of course, it couldn't have been such a successful engagement without your involvement. Thank you for being a part of it. From my colleague, Isus Abunilari.
Of course, yes, we've talked more about the tax, like you said, and now the electricity. And I'm sure we've been able to address so many issues coming from the end.
right, the show returns later. I think another edition on Wednesday, and then another edition of Yoruba version tomorrow, and so on and so forth. Please keep a date with us. Until then, Sunday Kolawole is my name. Enjoy the rest of the day. Good morning.